BBC News with Sue Montgomery. In its first comprehensive assessment of where the world stands in its attempt to prevent dangerous climate change, the United Nations has warned that the established system is working, but not fast enough. The UN Secretary-General, Antonio Guterres, warned radical change was needed.
We have no time to lose. Challenges stretch as far as the eye can see. The climate crisis is worsening dramatic, but the collective response is lacking in ambition, credibility and urgency.
The UN's global stocktake calls for a quicker phasing out of fossil fuels, significant expansion of renewable energy and a reversal of deforestation by 2030. Rising floodwaters are continuing to hamper rescue and recovery efforts in Greece, following some of the worst storms ever recorded in the country. The authorities in the city of Larissa in central Greece have ordered the evacuation of a district threatened by floodwaters. One woman, Xenia, said the home where she'd lived for more than 30 years was now completely submerged.
I never thought this could have happened, that my house would be under 1.5 metres of water. My home is completely destroyed. I have nothing left. All I have is my work, this house and my children. And now our home is gone.
A police officer in the US city of Philadelphia has been charged with murder over the fatal shooting of a motorist at a traffic stop last month. Mark Dial shot Eddie Irizarry at close range as he sat in his car after being pulled over. John Sudworth reports.
Eddie Irizarry was driving erratically, the police say, which was why they pulled up beside his car. Now the newly released body cam footage provides a clear and graphic view of what happens next. One of them gets out and within the space of just 5 seconds, with a shout of "I'm going to shoot you," fires 6 bullets into the car. The initial police claim that Mr. Irizarry had got out of the car himself and lunged at them with a knife is now clearly disproven, and Mark Dial, the one who fired the shots, has been charged with murder. But the new police footage also shows something else. Mr. Irizarry seemingly holding a knife. Lawyers for the officers say in the heat of the moment they'd mistaken the weapon for a gun and have called the charge outrageous.
The former Speaker of the US House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, has announced she will run for re-election to Congress. 83-year-old Ms. Pelosi was first elected to represent San Francisco as a Democrat in 1987. She served as House Speaker twice. World News from the BBC. Legal documents released by a court in the US state of Georgia show that a special grand jury recommended that charges should be brought against more than 30 people, including the Republican senator from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, for their attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election result. At the end, prosecutors did indict the former President Donald Trump and 18 of his suspected co-conspirators. Gary O'Donoghue is in Washington.
This grand jury, instead of indicting 19 people, which is what ended up happening, did suggest indictments against 39 separate people, including the serving Republican Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina and 2 former Republican senators from Georgia. So around 20 people were not indicted despite that recommendation from that first grand jury. And I think that obviously does raise questions about why they decided not to indict those 20. Some of them may have decided to cooperate. Some of them may be cooperating as we speak with the investigation, which would effectively remove the threat of indictment in particular. Some of them, the District Attorney may have decided there's not enough evidence.
The new Prime Minister of Gabon, Raymond Ndo Sima, has told the BBC he hopes democratic elections can be held within 2 years. The junta, which overthrew President Ali Bongo, has promised a free and fair vote. Mr Sima said the exact timings would be decided at a meeting of political parties in the coming days. He ruled out bringing a legal case against Gabon's former president. The hosts France have won the opening match of the Men's Rugby World Cup, beating 3-time champions New Zealand 27-13. It's the first time New Zealand have lost a pool match in the tournament. French supporters are hoping to see their team become world champions for the first time. BBC News.